had to put a foot down.
Alright everybody, what is the crack? It is Dylan from Mabfield here, and I'm joined by Jack.
Yeah, how's it going?
And we've got a special guest today, Nealo.
What's the crack, lads?
So
Dylan and Jack, those things?
Yeah, going good.
Good.
This is take 2 actually, so had a bit of a faulty hardware there, but we're ready to go.
Yeah.
So what's the crack been since the last, I don't know, when was the last time I seen you? I didn't get speaking to you at EP.
I seen you on the steps of, what's that fucking place in Dublin?
Fuck,
having a lot of pints of Guinness. You were with Luke Sharkey. Yeah. He's a legend actually, isn't he? Yeah.
I completely forgot about that, and I did not know that was like a spot for having a gargle. Like,
me neither. Like, I knew people hung out there, but I didn't know the amount of people. It's literally NCAD on the steps. That's
it's
all
crazy.
It is. And the guards don't, like, they just leave it.
Yeah,
it's weird.
It felt very like European or something.
Yeah,
because you go to like Spain and stuff, you get like people just like having, you know, like we drink outside and stuff. But
do you know what's weird about it though? If that was like a lot of lads in tracksuits, not a chance it would happen.
No way.
That's weird. Like,
just because there's a load of hipsters with like earrings and shit. Yeah,
Mad.
basically. It was bizarre, but that was cool. And then I think what was on after that? Was it the
Burner
Nonsense
Records,
Magnus?
Rebel P, and Nonsense Magnus, which was a deadly gig.
Yeah,
really good.
Did
yeah.
you
Were you at that, Jack, as well?
I was not. I was
working. You went to.
I was my first shift at my new job the next morning at like 9 a.m.
That's
so I couldn't go. But then I ended up going to the Banjaxed event.
Okay.
Which like basically got shut down because there was a car set on fire outside.
Wow, no way.
Someone like, what was the other thing that happened?
No, yeah, we like got to the event. It was me and Dina and Katie from Girl Codes, and then some guy just hopped out of a taxi with a hammer, smashed up this car, like the windshield, all the windows, and then just jumped back.
And was he at the gig? No,
no,
just
like,
random,
just
like
in the area.
Yeah.
And then we were at the gig for like half an hour, and then we came back out again, and then someone had set a different car just on fire in the street.
Mad.
So then like the police came. So.
Obviously, it was in a mad sketchy area or something.
Yeah,
that's just hip hop beef up here.
But it's just how it is.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, Liam Miyagi and Jack Bashful played, and they were both
savage. Yeah,
really
they're both
good.
deadly, man.
Yeah,
they're both really good.
But yeah, did you stay long enough to see Woodsy stage dive after that? And
I don't think I've seen him stage dive. I've seen him stage dive multiple times in the past. So I think I might have been out for a smoke or something, or down in the green room or something like.
He jumped and no one was ready for it and just landed on this poor girl. But then he did like she was fine. It was fine. But everybody kind of paused for a moment. It was like shit. And then he did another one and we all called him. It was like, hey, and we were just like making sure that no one got squashed this time. But yeah, other than that, it was a good gig though.
I was at a hardcore festival in California years ago. Kaylee was there as well. Sorry, my wife's here as well, and my baby just chilling in the back. But this guy stage dived, landed on his neck, and was just on the ground, like panned out. And like the whole festival had to stop, and like everybody's just in the pit, looking at this dude, like just lying there, not moving. And then the ambulance just came in, like they stretchered him out, and then just the gig started again. So fucking weird. Do you remember that, Kales? Were you there for that? Yeah. Sound of Fury, yeah, like 2008 or something.
Yeah, no, it reminds me of that. I showed you that video of Miguel where he just sits on that woman's head.
Yeah.
You know Miguel? He's playing at the VMAs or something, and there's a gap in between the stage with the walkway.
Yeah.
And he tries to jump over, but he just ends up just landing crotch first on this woman's head. Yeah. It's the funniest video. We'll leave it in the description.
Have you ever seen the one where Akon gives your man like the RKO on stage? No. Some chap threw something at him and he's like, who the fuck threw that? He's like, get that guy up here. And it's a 15-year-old kid, man, and he gets him up on his shoulders and he just fucks him back into the crowd. Yeah,
Action Bronson's
notorious for it.
He just kicks him off.
He kicks him up. There's one, there's jokey ones where he does his wrestling moves, but there's one time a guy jumped and tried to give him a hug, and he lifts him and just wings him into the crowd. Yeah. It's crazy.
He's got some power, man. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know if he'd be able to last that long, but he'd kill you in 30 seconds probably.
Oh yeah, he'd crush you. He'd crush you. So where all have you toured previous then?
Yeah, we did I've done America twice. Full America,
tours.
Yeah, Canada and America,
yeah,
and then we did Europe about 7 times, I think, something like that. Yeah, we never got to go to Russia. I always wanted to go there. One time we were booked to play Russia, 3 gigs, St. Petersburg, Moscow, and somewhere else. And then I told the lads, and I was like, we're going to Russia. I'm emailing this guy for ages. We're going to book the flights. And then just about to book the flights, and I realised this chap was after the wrong band.
No way.
I thought we were a French band called Frustration. Yeah. Imagine if we had gone over to that. That would have been unreal.
Is there a big hardcore scene in Russia?
Yeah, huge. Yeah, a lot of Nazis though. Yeah, it's scary over there. Yeah,
you
really
just go
scary.
and just played fuck those Nazi punks.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be like Green Room. Seen that?
Yeah, that's great. great movie.
That's intense.
Yeah, man, it is. Yeah.
And what sort of coming into doing hip hop, like it's obviously a totally different arena, and at the moment there's not really the scope to tour as extensively as an Irish hip hop artist, I don't think. But does that bother you? Do you feel like you've done that? And
it does bother me in terms of like touring is the best way to get your name out there. Like literally, you're playing a gig every night, and even if there's only 30 people there, like probably be more than that a lot of the time. But if there's like, say there's 50, 100, 200, like 50 of them are going to follow you on Instagram.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they're going to become fans, especially if the performance is good. So it's such a good, steady way to build up a following, you know, that kind of way. That's why you see people on the road all the time. Like, they just want to keep building up that following, you know. So, yeah, I do miss that. I wish there was more of an infrastructure in Ireland to do that. Even to go around and do, like, 7 gigs, that would be great, you know. But it takes a while to build up that here. Like, you'd probably be playing to the barman in some places, you know.
Yeah.
Is there a big difference in the crowds between hardcore and hip hop?
There is, like, yeah, in terms of energy, it's getting similar though, like, because you see in hip hop now there's all the mosh pits and stuff, but like in hardcore it's just way more intense, like really, really intense stuff. But yeah, there's similarities. Like a lot of the hardcore dudes would still go to my gigs and stuff.
Yeah.
I seen that in a review, like where, sorry, I have a cold here, so I'm just like, in a review of my last headliner, they're like, oh yeah, this is a weird crowd. There's loads. They described it as like hip hop soft boys beside hardcore lads with shaved heads. It's like, fair enough. Yeah, that's just what it is.
Yeah, there's like, I feel like hip hop's like blurring genre lines quite a lot recently,
totally,
with like all different sorts of genres.
JPEG Mafia just did a song with Code Orange, who are like a huge hardcore band.
Yeah, I was kind of disappointed by it.
I didn't hear it. Yeah,
well, because it is good.
Yeah,
but like,
is it weird? I'd say it's weird as fuck. Is it?
It's not like that. Well, the Code Orange bits is just like some vocals in the background,
right?
Whereas I was kind of hoping for.
And is there big breakdowns in it?
Is this one?
Not really. Yeah, with Injury Reserve.
Yeah.
Weird combination.
I seen Injury Reserve and JPEG Mafia in America before, but like, there's definitely like hardcore elements to what JPEG Mafia does, but like that song wasn't what I expected it to be.
No, like it is still really good. You should check it out, but it's not like a Code Orange song with JPEG doing vocals or anything. Do you know what I mean?
Do you like Code Orange?
I've listened to them a bit.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say like I like love them or anything. Yeah. But I've listened to like.
Saw them playing Fibbers, man, like 2 years ago.
Really?
Yeah. No, not 2 years ago. About 5 years ago.
That's
actually.
insane.
Yeah. It's good crack.
But yeah, both times we saw JPEG, the crowd was like absolutely nuts, like moshing the whole time.
That's something that I'd like to explore, because my music is so like lo-fi, jazzy. But I have that I can scream and like turn up the energy like that.
I'd love to see that.
I have been blurring the lines a bit in the studio.
Yeah.
Like me and Cobb the Dude have a song, and I have a bit of screaming on that. And then like I have another two songs on my album that have screamy bits, but like I don't know how they transfer live. You know what I mean? It's hard.
But you know, like I feel like it's one of them things with so many artists doing, you know, like with hip hop, like especially like I would look at like Flatbush Zombies and people like this do like mad motion, and even it's just the energy. It's not even necessarily the music. Sometimes it gets people going so much.
Yeah.
But do you think it'll be difficult to keep it concise and cohesive, having that sort of sound against like some of the other stuff you're doing?
Really difficult to do, I think. Yeah, because you're really switching it up. You know what I mean? Like you'd almost have to have like a section of the set, maybe 2 or 3 songs that's like, all right, turn up now, and then bring it back down or something like that. I don't know if it would work though.
Or maybe if you like went off stage for a little bit and then came back into, like 2 or 3
costume change.
You just come out like a backwards cat.
Yeah, come back like a wrestler, just like oiled up and all, like just a pair of tiny leather jocks and all, like let's go.
But that's cool, and I feel like there is a lot of that's something that's good about the hip hop scene here being quite early stages, is that there's room for experimentation and you can try stuff and not be afraid of it not landing initially.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think Nonz is great for that. Like he's fearless when it comes to like his new song like Fight Club. It's just like that could be like there is hardcore elements in that. You know, there really is. You know.
Yeah, I definitely see punk elements in everything he's in a lot of stuff he's doing, and I think
cool
sometimes
fuck,
like
man.
the ethos of what people are doing as well, because even it's obviously not the same, but when you look at people like Kneecap and stuff like that are doing, you know, anti-establishment shit, essentially it's like it's the same idea.
They're up there with they're the most punk act in Ireland right now. They are, like, because they don't give a fuck.
They actually don't. Like we were literally I seen him at EP and it was coming to the end. Someone lit a flare, shot a flare.
Yeah, I
at the
saw
end.
videos of that, man. Yeah.
And then they were like, "I'm going off stage to do a line of coke. Fuck the police," and just walked off. And I was like, "Oh my god!" Like
You
no
can't-
one else is doing
like
that.
there's
shit.
no punk bands doing that.
No.
There just isn't. You know what I mean? Like they are the most punk act in Ireland. Like, you know, and there is even punk elements to what Versatile do. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's so anti everything. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it just is. Like
Yeah, it's
I think it's coming into hip hop in general, like everywhere as well. Like people like Slow Tie. and-
Yeah, huge punk influence. Like even just the way he acts, the way he like just his message. Like he's coming out saying "fuck the Queen," basically.
Yeah.
He's a cunt, man. That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. Like that takes balls to be English and say that.
Yeah.
It really does. You know,
Yeah.
like that's nuts.
But yeah, I think especially when we saw him live as well, I think people go to hip hop shows and expect a mosh now.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
almost looking for it even when the song doesn't.
dictate that.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah.
But how far off is the album?
I don't have like a date. Like it's not fully written. Like it's mostly written. I was looking. I was lining up all the songs last night. I have a lot of songs. Like so, I just need to get everything organized. I don't want to rush it. The other kind of way. Like I'll still probably release a couple of things in the meantime, like single here and there, maybe.
Keep it going.
Yeah, like early next year. You know, something like that. February, March, April. I don't know.
Because I feel like
Yeah.
that's something that is sorely lacking. Is people are so like focus heavy on singles, and I totally get that it is important, and
Yeah.
you can get like a lot of people listening to, and you can gain hype, but there's no like longevity to it whatsoever.
No, yeah, and I've heard you talking about that. Like
Yeah.
projects are, they last the test of time. Do you
Yeah.
know what I mean? They're what separates you as an artist from someone who just drops singles and
Mm-hmm.
people might forget them in a couple of years. Whereas an album, people grow to love it.
Yeah.
Now it's less and less these days. Like
Yeah.
albums are more throwaway now than they
Yeah.
were. That's why the singles game is there. That wasn't there 5 years ago.
No.
Like, because Spotify is the reason the singles game is there, because everything is through Spotify now. So if you're dropping a single every 2 months and you're hitting those right playlists, like why not just keep going with that? You know what I mean? It's working for people. You know.
I think there's a time to drop an album as well. Like people drop it too early, and when people just don't care about the person enough
Yeah,
to like 'cause
exactly. Yeah.
to actually for me to sit and listen to a 12-track album, you know,
Stuff,
I've got to be
yeah.
interested in the
Yeah.
person.
Sure, I don't even do that anymore, man.
Nah.
Like I don't have the attention span to sit through a 12-track album. It's that's hard to
crazy.
admit.
Yeah.
Because I used to like just session albums the whole time, all the way through. But just so much going on now that
There's too much new music coming out. It's like overwhelming to keep up
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah, I think people do bring out a lot more EPs now. I think.
Yeah.
Well, the EPs made like a bit of a comeback.
I like the smaller projects, like the Daytona length stuff, like Delhi Daydreams, like,
Yeah.
because I think they suit our attention span now. Like
Yeah.
you seen what happened to Chance the Rapper when he brought out a 22-song record. You know what I mean?
RIP,
That could have been a
yeah.
decent 7-song thing.
Yeah, have you picked the best
A couple of
songs and, like,
interludes, you know, a couple of songs here and
Yeah.
there, like maybe write 2 better songs, get them in there, like, but yeah, like that, like, what's the reason for bringing out a 22-song album and 15 are garbage? Like,
well, it's
you
like
know?
streaming, isn't it? It's like each one of them will nearly get put into a playlist near
True,
enough, probably.
true.
But it's just such a strange thing, because I feel like people aren't making music a lot of the time. Bigger artists aren't making it a lot of the time for what they want to do. It's
Yeah.
like the match criteria. So whenever you get one play on Spotify, is it like after someone listens for 30 seconds or something? So they try to get the hook
That's
in
it.
before the
Exactly,
30-second mark and stuff like that.
And that's why all the interludes are longer than 30 seconds. You'll see
Yeah.
that, like, it's gas.
Yeah, I haven't even listened to the Chance album yet, just because it's
No,
so like.
I couldn't
so
even finish
dominant.
I haven't listened to it all the way through. Like, there's
Yeah.
some really bad songs in that thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the Baby's verse. That's good. I love him. He's deadly.
Oh, the baby? Yeah, he's sick.
so good, man. He's on the new. I listened to the new Post Malone yesterday.
Oh, yeah, what was that
Hollywood's
like?
Bleeding. Not great. Like,
Yeah.
like, and I love Posty. Major guilty pleasure.
Yeah.
Like, we went to see him and everything. Seen him play it live a few times, but it's grand. The Baby's verse is amazing though. Yeah, he just kills it. His flow is just so weird.
He's a
man.
mad cunt as
Yeah,
well.
he's
He's
dead,
he's
yeah.
mad.
Yeah,
Lunatic,
I had a quick listen. It seems like it's like all pop. Like
Yeah.
it's just gone full pop for the
Yeah,
album.
it is. Yeah, he's trying to do this like dark thing.
Yeah.
Like this, like Hollywood's Bleeding, kind of like there's like a bit of a dark influence there, but it's not really working that well.
Nah,
Yeah.
and there's that tune with Ozzy Osbourne on as well.
I haven't heard that. I
It's-
should listen to that. I'm
it's
going to listen to that as soon as I leave.
It's pretty strange, yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. But to be fair, Ozzy actually sounds quite good on it.
Like Eminem had Going Through Changes years ago that had the sample from that in
Oh,
it,
yeah.
and that's a banger of a tune. Yeah, it's a really
Yeah.
good song.
But with the Chance album as well, I feel like a lot of the criticism was that people think because he's like settled down, he's kind of boring now.
Yeah.
Do you ever like think about that with your
Yeah,
own music?
when I was putting my last song out, like Angel on My Shoulder, because there is similarities between that and Chance. Like I was listening to a lot of acid rap at the time, And like some of the verses, even you can hear that, like it is that influence. And I was really worried because I was like, this is a bad time to sound like Chance.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
but like it just so happens that I'm going through some of the same things as he is, like having a kid, getting married, all that stuff, you know. But the problem with him was he was driving at home too much, and he was just like sounding too happy with himself. Like I think on my records, I still sound conflicted internally, you know, that kind of way. So it's like it's not a smugness; it's just explaining how I'm feeling coming across. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. I think there are a couple of similarities between what you do and like.
But it's not a rip off, hopefully. Anyway, that's all I'm wondering.
I think like the way that you guys, well, the way he used to both talk about like drug use and stuff.
Yeah,
is the same, the
exactly,
same sort of like honesty of like almost like glorifying it and talking about the bad aspects at the same time.
Yeah, and that's what I do because like that is always a part of my life, you know what I mean? I've been through all that. I still struggle with some of that stuff, you know, and it's like you have to talk about it. You have to be honest. Like I could be out here like pretending I'm not doing any of that stuff, or else saying I'm all about smoking weed all day, blah blah blah. I'm not that either. Do you know what I mean? So it's like I just have to be real with myself, because if I wasn't making authentic music, I couldn't really like look at myself in the mirror. Like I understand that in your 20s, like I do, because I did it. You know what I mean? I did like macho shit. Yeah. Just to be out here and be like in your 30s and be talking bullshit is just, there's no point in doing that, man. I might as well just not rap if I'm doing that, you know?
Yeah, because I feel like, like your image is not like super clean cut or like super messy. Do you know what I mean? 'Cause I feel like with artists, they often like feel like they have to be either like Danny Brown or like Sam Smith. Do you know what I mean? It's got to be the two extremes. Whereas like in reality, most people
like crackhead or a politician. You know what I mean? It's one or the other. Crackhead or a priest.
Yeah. But I feel the latest track's kind of like a representation of that, where like the production feels a bit smoother than some of the other stuff, but like the message and stuff and your approach is like, you know, what you've always done, really.
Yeah, it is the same. It's probably a step above. Like Questions was my last single, and like it's good, but it's not great, and it's like it's just an elevation of flow, and like being able to like get those words out in a nice way that I like and that people might like as well. You know what I mean? And like that's like the shit that I have after that is better again.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? So as long as I'm getting better, that's all I care about. You know.
What kind of producers are you working with on the album? Is it Adam Garrett?
Adam Garrett is mostly he wrote the whole fucking thing, man, pretty much. Like like in terms of piano, and then me and him usually go into Adam Shanahan and who's My Fault, and we do a bit stuff there, and then Diffusion are going to be doing a bit as well. So but a lot of it is Inner Space as well, so like some of the other songs that I have like floating around for ages will be on it as well, because I have some bangers that like I haven't even released yet with Inner Space as well. So
right.
Yeah.
Is that how you like usually go about writing a tune then? Like you get the piano from Adam Garrett?
Yeah, he'll usually send me something, because he makes beats on his laptop a little bit, and like it won't be a beat, it might be a piece of music, you know, that kind of way. Yeah. And he'll send it to me and I'll be like, man, that's unreal. And everything he sends me, I'm like, yes. Like the other day he sent me like a disco kind of song. Like it's kind of like a housey disco thing, and just because he's playing piano on it, I can do something over it, because that brings that out of me, you know.
Yeah.
Like I want to work with other producers as well, and I get sent beats all the time, and I do like a lot of them. But yeah, hopefully I'll click with something soon. I like Civ from New Sense. He makes fucking savage beats, so hopefully do something with him, and Jar Jar as well. Try and do something with him too.
Shit.
Yeah.
When I started this initially, I was quite like, you know, stiff, but it just takes time to get over it. But it evolves, and you feel like more comfortable. Because we were talking when we had Keelan on last week. Yeah, it was just the most natural one we'd had yet, where it just flowed. I don't know,
because you get used to the microphone, and like having that like a conversation is what people want to hear. They don't want to hear like sort of like stiffy radio stuff where it's like, oh, and now we're going over to do this, blah blah blah, you know. And I think that's one of the reasons that I can go to interviews and like be myself, because I did that podcast for so long, and I'm just used to talking into a microphone. You know? Because it is different than talking normally.
It is. It totally is.
Yeah. But it can make you more animated in a way. Like you're still yourself. But like you just have to accentuate your talking.
Well, we've been talking about how literally there's a couple of times we're about to do a podcast, and then we're a bit like, whoa, and then you turn the mic on and you're literally you're sat up straight and you're like ready to go.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Like in the car on the way down, like baby was crying, like we're a bit stressed. I'm like, I'm a half an hour late.
Yeah.
Need to get petrol, like pull in, change his nappy, all that shit. And then like as soon as you come here and put a mic, you're just like, yeah, it's grand.
Yeah, it's weird.
But it's not like forcing it.
No,
I
it's
want
just it's something unlocks in your brain. Do you feel like that with going on stage? Do you get like nervous before you go on, and then does it just
depending
click?
on the gig? Yeah, like I definitely got nervous before Longitude. The most nervous I've ever been was the YG gig.
Yeah,
that was like
that's a big.
That was my fourth gig ever. Like, and that was like 1,200 people that didn't want to see me. They were just there for YG, who's not even like in the spectrum of where I'm at as a hip hop artist. Like, it's completely different worlds, you know. Yeah. So that was really, really scary. But like, we just went with it, and it was grand, you know.
And how was that? How did you find that?
Yeah, it was really fun, man. It was a great experience. Like, cause like people were vibing with it, man. There was pockets of the crowd that were like throwing their hands up, and they were with us, and then a lot of them were just kind of like looking like fairly like disinterested, but like not booing. My main thing was to go out there and just not flop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like your fourth ever gig, like you haven't even got your set together. Like it would mix and match and everything. You know, I think it was the second time I'd ever played with a band. You know, so it went good. Yeah, it was good.
I think there's something to be said as well. If people don't know your stuff and they're vibing with it, that's almost better than going and people already know.
Yeah, exactly.
Know your stuff. You know what I mean?
Like, and Longitude was a mix of both. Do you know what I mean? It was like a good like. Front of the crowd was all people like you and like all the lads and people from Sold Out that knew the shit, and then like it's just like 2,000 other fuckers that were into it. You know, it was great. It was a really good time. That was a moment where it's kind of like, okay, this is going in the right direction. You know, that kind of way.
It's cool because I think it's hard to. So many people I speak to like talk about like the imposter syndrome or feeling like, you know, oh, I'm not doing this well enough and stuff. But it's like important to be like to have that reaffirmation, isn't it, and the confirmation that you're doing well and stuff.
And that imposter syndrome is a huge thing, especially as an artist. You're like, well, I guess everybody gets it. Like you probably get it with this. Like it's just
100%,
it's just humans. You know what I mean? It's like you tell yourself you're not good enough, and you're going to be like your brain would always convince you that there's going to be lads at the door in 5 minutes to take you away. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I used to get it real bad when I was on the dole back in the day. I don't know why. I just feel like, oh, they're going to catch me. You know what I mean? Like doing something. I'm not even doing anything wrong.
You're not doing anything wrong.
It's
like, yeah.
No, I used to get that feeling as well.
Yeah.
I was on the dole like a few years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, and you do sort of get that like weird anxiety.
Yeah, it's a total weird anxiety. Like I'm gonna be found out, and it's the same with music. It's like I don't belong here, but like then you play a gig like Longitude, and I'm like, fuck yeah, I fucking belong here.
Yeah,
you know
definitely.
I mean? Yeah.
And do you feel like any of the people that because you've worked pretty consistently with Inner Space, Molly Stern, and all that, do you feel as though that's something that's going to continue? You know, you continue to work with people that you feel comfortable with, because it seems to work.
And it's more so like the reason I work with them is because I love them as humans more so. Like, just so it happens that they're amazing musicians as well, but those are all the people that I just clicked with along the way, and I was like, you're deadly. Let's do stuff, you know. You really sound like, and that's like the same with Genova as well. It's like, okay, we get on super well, so like let's just keep this going for a while, you know.
Do you like bounce stuff off those guys when you're writing the songs as well?
Like lyrically?
Yeah, or even musically.
Like, do you mean go back and forth with stuff? Yeah, definitely. We'll be shaping the songs and stuff like that. It's hard to get them, like, we don't do it in the same room, like, it's because they're all session players as well. Yeah. And then you have Yuli, who's like doing his own thing as well. So it's and Adam Garrett, he's a solo musician. Molly is as well. So it's really hard to get everybody together. I have a gig in Cork on the 14th as part of like a festival down there. So we'll like be getting together this week to practice. So that'll be the first time we've all been in the same room for fucking months, you know. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Because you're playing Belfast as well.
Yeah, on
that's
November 7th.
Just around the corner from
Is
here.
it? Yeah. Will you stall it?
Pardon?
Will you come?
Oh, I 100%. Yeah.
It's only £3 or something.
Yeah, it's
pretty
crazy.
Like,
yeah. Have you ever played Belfast before?
I've played with Frustration.
Yeah. Where did you play with them?
We played what's the big fucking venue?
Limelight, is it?
No, Limelight, is that it holds about 1,000 or something like that?
Oh fuck, maybe.
That's bigger than Limelight, isn't it?
Yeah. The Empire's pretty big that you're playing at.
Yeah, really, is
it's
it?
big. Because that's where I seen Kneecap that time, where they were chanting all the like "fuck the Queen" stuff, and like
that's where it got shut down. Was it? No way.
Yeah. So that'll be interesting, but it's a really cool venue. Like,
yeah, deadly. I'd say hopefully there'll be people there.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Do you have many like listeners from Belfast?
Yeah, like we looked at the numbers recently.
It's about like 30%, I think.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
It's weird. It's like 30% here, 30% Dublin. so people assume that we're from Dublin.
Really?
Like a lot of the time, yeah. And you know, I'll be at a gig down, I don't know, Workman's or something like
Yeah.
that, and then it's like, oh, I'm hopping on the bus after this, and they're like,
Yeah.
where? And I'm like, to Belfast, and they're like, fuck.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's not pleasant. But
I like that the listenership is like all over the place. That
It's
says
crazy.
a lot about but it says a lot about where hip hop is at in this country. Like that's why I want to start coming up here. That's because why I put up that tweet yesterday. I was like, I want to start coming to Belfast and like seeing what's going on. You know what I mean? Because like I don't want to just be a Dublin artist. Like I want to like go here and Cork as well. You know, like and just make friends and like help build that community.
definitely, because
well,
there's like really significant scenes in other cities. Like even like Limerick is like a complete hotbed of hip hop like going on there. Like
the amount of artists coming out of Limerick, man,
mad.
it's actually nuts. Like,
Yeah,
I really want to go. Yeah. I've only been in
we
Ireland
should
for
all
like.
go down, man. Like, we should, like, they should probably do a big gig all together, and we all go down for it. Like, I'd
That'd
love
be
to do
crazy.
that, man. Because like, think of who you have, like Strange Boy, Citrus, Hazy. Like, I'm leaving out a million, like Post Punk Pod.
Yeah,
She's from
yeah,
there,
yeah.
isn't he?
even like God knows is from Limerick, isn't he?
God knows,
Yeah,
he's from Limerick. I always think of him as like somewhere else, but yeah, he is. Yeah, Denise Shayla.
yeah.
So many good artists.
crazy.
Merly, fuck me, man. It's nuts, isn't it?
It's mad.
Almost more than Dublin, like.
I've spoken to
Almost.
so many people.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna give him that. Like, I'm not gonna give him that yet.
Yeah, I've spoken to so many people, even outside of music, where they're always
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, you've got to get down to Limerick."
Yeah, great spot. Like,
But with the Dublin thing as well, we've been talking to a few people recently that are talking about like the declining nightlife
yeah,
scene.
sucks.
Is that like how real do you think that is?
It's very real, man. Yeah, it's very fucking real. Like all the old venues, like I know I sound like an old rocker, but like all the old punk venues that we used to play are all gone pretty much. Like except for Fibbers, you know, like that's the only one that's standing strong. And like it's just sad. Like it's sad. It's sad when you go by the Tivoli Theatre or like District or like fucking Hangar or something like that. You're just like, man, that is like a hotel now, you know. And we don't need more hotels. We just don't. Like, we have enough fucking hotels for enough tourists that are coming. Like, we need culture. If you don't have culture in a city, there's nothing to visit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there's no point in being a tourist and having like a fucking Carol's Gifts on every street.
I know. I was
just
reading
like
a really interesting
a
article
plastic
about
city.
it. Yeah, and it was saying about how all the major cities are becoming like Instagrammed. Like they're basically creating, you know, all the same wee baubles hanging from different things that people get like selfies with, and it's like the same photo exists just in every major city in Europe. So like, what's the point?
Like, you don't go to Barcelona to go into a gift shop and buy plastic shit.
Nah.
You go to see the nooks and crannies. Same with Prague. Like, you go to see these little weird bars, these venues, you know. But if you're slowly taking them out of a city, it becomes just this like place where all tourists collect together and take pictures, like you're saying, like, you know,
Lifeless almost.
Lifeless, yeah. And you force the people that grew up there further and further out. Like we were talking about rent earlier, you know what I mean? It's like we live 10 minutes outside the city and it's like 1,300 a month, which is fucking madness. Like, and that's cheap, considered cheap. Like, and then you have all this generation, sorry to go on a rant, but like all the generation that are not able to move out of their parents' gaff. They're all 25 living with their parents. Like, that sucks.
The amount of people I've spoke to that are still living with their parents, and even small things like people go to university up north, you know, they're able to move out and stuff, but a lot of people that I've spoke to in Dublin all live with their parents.
It's almost impossible.
It's
man.
impossible.
You can get campus like accommodation, but even that's expensive, you know. So a lot of them just emigrate. Like, they go Berlin, London, Canada. They're the three, really.
It's like the brain drain almost. Like everybody leaving to go elsewhere because they can't afford it.
Yeah, and it was bad in my generation. Like Kaylee, my wife, like she had like a group of like 6-7 friends. There's one of them still lives in Dublin. That's it, you know. And that's it's shit. Like,
Yeah, that is crazy.
yeah.
Why do you think there aren't as many venues? Like, why do you think they're closed down?
Why do you think they get closed down?
Yeah.
Because they don't make as much money as a hotel would. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
when it comes down to capitalism at the end of the day, it's like what is going to make more money? Like, something that is going to generate a lot of cash is going to push out something that just doesn't generate enough. Like, venues do generate money, but like hotels just like 300, especially when you can charge 200 or 300 a night. Like, imagine how much money that takes in, you know?
Yeah.
It's a lot. Like, so it's just down to brass tacks at the end of the day, like, you know.
Yeah. It is sad though.
Very
But-
sad, yeah. And there's no will to change it, is the thing.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
that's the impression I got, is that there's no real concerted effort by anyone higher up to do anything about it.
But
Like,
why would they? Like, they don't give a fuck, man. Like, you know, they're just waiting for the next election.
Yeah.
You know, it's sad, yeah.
and even in terms of music, you've obviously then seen that change from when you're younger. You've probably had a few places where you got your start or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, a few venues that give you a chance to play there probably now don't even exist.
Yeah.
And it must be strange because you're looking at it from someone that's done a lot of things for these new artists coming through where they have less and less places to go and get their first chance. You know what I mean?
I'd love to see like some new ones opening up, and there is new ones definitely coming, like, but they're few and far between. You know, like Lost Lane. I was there once when Mango was DJing. It looks good. Yeah. But that's more on the upper scale. Like, we need more dingy places where people can go and put on a cheap gig. You know what I mean? Rent it out for 80 quid. And like just do a gig there, you know.
Well, that's it. Like in Belfast, that's one thing that there is a few places like like the Menagerie, you can get reasonably cheap, and you know a lot of people that are doing their first gigs there are putting on their like their first nights or whatever.
That's important because that's a jump start for people to just go and like, you know, like if there's nowhere like that to do a gig, then like how do you start as an artist?
Exactly,
you know what I mean?
exactly.
How do you get that encouragement? 30 people came to see me. That's unreal. Like, let's do another one, you know, like. And
obviously, like, your growth has been pretty quick, I would say, since you started rapping. What's been your favourite gig that you've done so far? Like, as Nealo, you know, hip-hop?
Yeah, favourite gigs so far, probably the one in Whelan's, the headliner in Whelan's. That was the last one, yeah. And then I just know this one coming up on the 27th of September. Quick plug.
Yeah.
That's going to be unreal, man. I just have a feeling about it. I had the feeling about Longitude as well, because I was getting all these messages from people being like, oh, I'm going to be there front and centre, blah, blah, blah. And that was encouraging for me, you know, because you feel a bit of anxiety coming up to these things. But I just feel this one, like, on the 27th is just going to be unreal, because it's going to be so many people, bigger venue, and just, like, have fun, like. When is this coming out, actually, this podcast?
Tomorrow.
Okay, Grant, I can't say anything, so I was just saying about the sports. They're getting announced next week.
Okay.
I'll tell you after.
Yeah. A couple of we actually, before, like, Rebel Phoenix and Marcus Woods announced that they, you know, we're doing a thing together. I had, like, Eric on the podcast, and he was like, oh, it's great that they're putting a thing together, and then I had to, like, blank it out and put it out in the day.
I remember that, I think I remember watching that one or whatever, and you just happened to, I had edited it or something.
It was literally months before it had been announced as well, so I was like, oh, maybe they'll announce it. Nah, I had to blank it out. But that Rebel P project sounds pretty good so far.
Daddy, man. Yeah, it's really good. Actually, I've heard it, like, the whole thing, and it's really good, man. There's actually better songs than Sun Gazing on it as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah. One in particular that's fucking savage.
Because I would say, like, for me, like, he's obviously like a sick rapper, but it's that modern twist he's added to it that I think just makes it have that replay value so much more.
The Marcus Woods production, and they fit together really well, because P has always had like this crazy flow that, like, you see him live. Did you see him live at that gig? Man? And it's like,
he literally was like,
especially when you see him live, it sends it home a lot more, because like, I think people hear his flows on a record and they're like, you could do that in the studio if you pieced it together, but like when you see him doing it live flawlessly,
he actually does it. No gaps,
bro,
no
you're
stops.
a fucking machine, man. What the fuck? And he's also the soundest guy ever, you know, so it just helps, like. But yeah, he's just on another level to me.
The video for Sun Gazing's cool as well.
It's amazing, considering like his missus shot that in New York, and like she's not a videographer. You know what I mean, did a great job.
Definitely. And you would hang about with him quite a lot, and like some Mango and stuff as well. But
I've only met them since I started rapping.
No way.
But like we've just kind of been like, we have this camaraderie where we're all like, they're close enough. They're not my age, but like they're closer than everybody else. You know what I mean? So, and we're just on the same mind frame that we just kind of vibe together.
Do you ever feel like pressure to make music with them, or is it just?
No, and they're deadly like that. They're like, you know, let's do something sometime when the time is right. Like, me and P do have a song together, but it just like wasn't good enough for where, like, it's a deadly song, but it's just not good enough for where we're at now. Couldn't release it, you know, that kind of way. But we're thinking about doing something else.
Or maybe like an EP together or something.
That would be savage. Like,
that would be sick.
A bit chalk and cheesy though. Like, we're just like, we're very opposite. But it could be cool. If you had the right production behind it, for sure. Because he has boom bap stuff as well.
I think
in his back catalogue, and he's really good at that too. I'd love to do something with him, definitely.
You both would definitely have to adjust your style a wee bit more to, like, it'd be interesting. But do you ever feel as though with the younger rappers, do you ever feel like a bit of a generational gap, or do you?
I actually don't. I get on really well with all. Like, I don't know, who would you be thinking of? Like,
well, even Genova would be a good bit younger than you. You know what I mean?
He's probably the one I get on the most out of anybody. But like, even Finchy and all, like, they're quite young. Like Local Boy and signee and stuff. But I vibe with them really well. They're just all really sound, you know. I think with me, I don't like act as old as I am. Do you know what I mean? I kind of have this idea of age that I'm just like, it's just
Yeah.
a number.
Yeah.
You really are as old as you feel. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes people, I meet people and they're like, "Man, you're so old." And I'm at the stage now where I'm just like, I don't really care. You know what I mean? Because I'm enjoying my life, you know. And I tried to live the 30-something-year-old life, like in a good job, you know, settling down a little bit like that. And it's not really me. And like Kaylee always says that as well. She's like, I want you to pursue this like hip hop thing, because if you weren't, you wouldn't be bubbly and like, you know, in a good mood. You'd be dark and like going on the session.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was where I was at then.
I don't think you are like that old in terms of
Yeah, no,
like
I'm not,
the
yeah.
hip hop scene.
Yeah,
I think
not,
maybe more in like the hardcore other scenes.
Yeah,
'Cause
maybe.
you've still got in
yeah.
hip hop like people like Kanye and that who are like
they're
in
all
their
like,
40s.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Just sometimes when you're at a gig and it's like, you look around and I'm like, I'm definitely the oldest person here. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
there is a lot of other people of my age in the hip hop scene as well, you know, which is cool.
And even just drawing it back to the whole Diffusion Lab thing, how did that come about, and what do you foresee? Like, how do you see it being beneficial, essentially?
Like, I was basically, so I had this album like that. I'm just like, okay, this is nearly done. I think this is a great project. Like, I'm very, very proud of where I'm at with it. I could release it on my own and like see what happens, and I'd probably get a really good reception. And but like these days, you need a team behind you, and you just do. Like, you need, and like I had asked around about them and heard only good things back. I had seen what Jafaris and Soleil have done, and Days and Rushes and all, and like they're just great. And like the lads are just sound. The production is crazy. It's on another level. So it just made sense for me, you know. So I just went to them. I had been at the Jafaris launch of the Button Factory, and Ivan from Diffusion had mentioned like, oh, we must chat sometime or something.
Yeah.
And for me, that was like, okay, they're interested.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I had thought about that for a few months, and then eventually I was getting frustrated, man, because I was like, shit, I'm not making the right moves, blah blah blah. Which I was. It was just anxiety talking. But one day I just hit them up, and they were like, yeah, let's go. And I just see it's just really beneficial to have them on board, you know.
Yeah, I think it is the era of the independent artists, essentially.
Yeah.
But you need to have
Those
like a
independent
team.
artists that you think are independent have a team.
Have a
behind them.
massive team.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
They do,
yeah.
They all do. It's impossible to get to that level.
Oh yeah.
Like Slow Tie probably looks independent, but like he is a fucking probably 20 PR guys. Do you know what I mean? Like,
his like PR is insane. Like
Yeah.
we've talked about it so many times. It just feels like it's been like shoved down your throat. Like fair enough,
Yeah.
it's good music or whatever,
Yeah.
but I think it's like people love to eat up that whole, oh, this guy just did it by himself, blah blah blah. So
it's
they
a
market
story.
it that way.
It's a
but
narrative. It's a narrative.
yeah.
It's a great narrative, and I'm sure he did a lot of it by himself. But in this music industry, you could not just be one guy. Like you'd have to be up all night sending emails.
And I guess you learned that from your previous experience. That's
Yeah.
one of the things that you'd learned.
Yeah, exactly. And I think people think that they can do it themselves these days, and like maybe 1 in 100 can, but I honestly don't see it. Especially with me with a family and stuff.
Oh,
because,
yeah.
like I can't be sitting there all night sending emails. You know what I mean?
yeah, I think it's a lot of stress as well. It's like you'd
Yeah.
rather have people around you to help you out.
exactly,
Otherwise, you
yeah.
just
And
ping.
like, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Like it's a community. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
As long as you're like I come from the punk scene where selling out is a major thing. It's always a thing. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, that band sold out. They suck. Blah blah blah. But to me, selling out is only making music that you don't want to make. That's the only way you can sell out. Or dressing in a weird way that you think people like.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like they think it's cool, blah blah blah. But like, yeah, it's only if you're not making music that's true to yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because that's something that I kind of wanted to get onto, because it is. I feel like it's a myth that's spread with some people if they're successful as well, because there has to be some sort of shift from making music in your bedroom to being, professional.
Yeah,
and is that something that you've thought about, getting your music out of Ireland?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, you have to. Like, there's no point if you want to get somewhere as an artist. You could spend your whole life in Ireland doing great things, but like if you go over to England or America and you get one magazine over there, then Ireland is like, whoa. Do you know what I mean? It's almost better to just go straight there these days and just do stuff there. Do you know what I mean? It's weird. It's a weird thing about Irish people. We do get behind our own, but it has to be acknowledged by another country first a lot of the time. Do you know what I mean?
Do you ever get worried about having like maybe a similar reaction to people had to Reggie Snow, where they like think he's like sold out because he's gone to America?
Yeah, I get you. No, not really. I think Reggie was probably different because he totally separated himself and then like also rapped in an American accent too. You know what I mean? Not to put that down or anything. It's just not what I would do. Do you know what I mean? and then he came back around a little bit and started being Irish again a little bit, and it's like I think people just thought that he just went off, you know what I mean? And he doesn't sound Irish a lot of the time in his music, so I think people just think he's not an Irish artist, you know what I mean? I think he is, but like people just think he's not, you know.
Yeah, I think the whole argument about authenticity is such an interesting one in rap, because with other genres you can sing in whatever accent you want, you never get called out on it.
Like
but
look at like Picture This or something
Yeah,
like that.
I know.
You know, nobody bats an eyelid, man.
No,
and
no
it's
one
this
gives a fuck.
weird neutral / English American accent that everybody seems to say. Even Bono, you know, they all do it.
It's absolutely bizarre.
But
But
in hip hop, you're really scrutinized.
Yeah.
I'm guilty of scrutinizing other people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I am.
it's
like,
just part and parcel of it, I guess. But
why is that? I wonder why is that? Because you're talking. Probably.
I think it's also to do with like the come up and the hustle, and it's like has to be
Yeah.
authentic and real, and if you're not doing it real to yourself or where you're from and all, but I don't know.
People are more obsessed with you like writing your own stuff in hip hop than other genres as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And like, but like, I'd be like that as well, because I don't want to hear some guy rapping if it's not him writing it.
Yeah.
Like, what's the point in that? You want to hear it coming from the person themselves, you know, because you want to feel that emotion.
Yeah.
Like, you can't really feel that emotion if it's, well, you can, I suppose, if it's coming from someone else, but it's harder, I think.
Yeah, so we got a couple of questions on Instagram here from people, so if you want to read some of them out, well,
let's
yeah,
go.
so first question comes from Seabackle. He's asked, what is your favourite breed of dog?
Ooh, great question. Whoa. Golden Retriever, I think. Yeah, it used to be Husky, but they're too wild. Yeah, I walk a couple of Huskies and it's like, I could not own one of those. Like, they just wreck a gaff. You have to go running with them and stuff.
Jesus,
you know
I have a cross between a collie and a Springer Spaniel, and she's nearly 14, and she's still like so hyper.
That's
still
a
runs
live
about,
wire
like,
cross, man. Yeah, that's an energetic dog. Like,
Do you have any like breeds of dogs that you refuse to walk because they're too crazy?
No. I'll literally walk any dog as long as they're not like really aggressive and like will fight the other dogs. Like I walk one Husky on its own every morning. That's really damaged. Like, it was on the news and everything. Like, this lady left it in a gaff. Like, didn't feed it. It was literally just ribs.
Oh my god!
And then they brought it back from that, but she's like completely damaged in the head.
Oh
and
shit!
She's grand with humans. Sees another dog, it's game over. Like, literally just obsessed, man. Just wants to kill it. Like, it's crazy. So I walk her every morning, like Monday to Friday, on her own in the park. It's grand. Like, just keep her away from other dogs. Sometimes the lead breaks.
Oh shit!
Yeah, so they have to replace the lead every couple of weeks. But like, I'm just waiting for it to break at the wrong moment. You know what I mean?
I used to live with a guy that had a German Shepherd, and he walked over the chain.
Really? No
yeah,
way.
because
That's
she
hard
was
as
like,
fuck,
she was
man.
pretty nuts. Yeah, but he was like this pretty like chubby dude, and he used to sort of like walk around the neighborhood with this dog on a chain. It was like, it was a weird picture. Someone else says, "What's your favorite track to perform on stage?"
Favorite track to perform? I guess it changes all the time, you know, depending on what you write. I always like Just My Luck.
I was gonna say, surely
always sing that back, you know.
Yeah.
But, Questions I like as well, because I'm real comfortable with the flows and stuff. Anything that I'm like really comfortable. The new stuff is really fun, but like you're afraid you're gonna forget a verse. You know what I mean?
Because
like
when
an
you
EP,
played an EP,
I forgot a couple of verses, man.
like,
Yeah, that was the first time that ever happened.
Oh, okay. Because there's a couple songs that were so hard, like different style to what the other stuff you'd released. And I was like, shit, like I want to hear this.
I did one with like a Cobb the Dude. Me and him have a song together, and it's coming out. Well, it's his song, so whenever he wants to drop it. But I did my verse on that there. I even forgot to ask him could I play it, but like I'm sure it'd be grand. Yeah, I did that first, and that's a completely different style to what I do usually. You know,
is it a bit more like aggressive?
It's more upbeat, yeah, exactly. And I'm messing around with different flows and stuff, trying to like explore that area, you know, which is something that I want to do, you know,
definitely,
like to bring up the energy and like, because you can be just a lo-fi jazz rapper forever, but like I want to explore different things.
Oh, 100%.
You know? Yeah,
diversity is important.
Yeah, I think Cobb the Dude's most recent single that came out was really good as well.
It's fucking brilliant. Yeah, and your man Nobody, is it that how you say it? Like
yeah,
Nobody?
the producer.
Yeah, no,
yeah.
He's the other guy that raps on it.
Oh shit, yeah, that's the one we actually
he was
reviewed.
in Veritas.
Yeah,
Joey something I think his name.
Joey
is.
Purr or something.
Yeah, fucking brilliant.
Yeah,
as well, man. Yeah, he's so good. But Cobb is someone that. Like, I didn't know him before rapping. I just seen him on Instagram, and I was like, this guy is above the pack.
Yeah.
You know, he just is.
His flow's absolutely relentless. Like,
it's crazy, man. Yeah.
Brown Sauce asked, "Are you aware that you've been nominated for the soundest rapper in Ireland?"
Well, that's a good chap to be asking that. He's a sound fucker, isn't he?
He's a good lad.
Great lad. Yeah. I wasn't aware of that. That's pretty cool. Yeah, it's nice. Because sometimes I feel like, because I'm just trying to be myself, but I think sometimes I come across like, oh, this chap's trying to be too nice. But like that, I've been struggling with that for years. When people have always been like, oh, you're too nice for your own good. Like, you have ulterior motives. But like, I literally just, I'm just me, man. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I'm like, that's
To
it.
be fair, like there's always just gonna be people coming up with like bullshit politics
Yeah.
and music
Exactly,
and stuff anyway.
exactly.
So
And
Anything
it was
to
the
be-
same with the punk scene as well, man. It was the exact same. Like,
Yeah, anything to be criticised for being too nice is
Yeah,
probably the best
that's
one.
true. That's true. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You could be criticised for being a prick. Like,
Oh, he's just too sound.
Yeah.
I get along with him too
something
well.
about him is too fucking sound.
he fucking walks dogs. Like that's
Yeah.
too. Oh God, he's such a nice guy.
Prick.
Steve Friel asked underrated Irish artists.
The most underrated. Ooh, I always say Rebel Phoenix because he is slept on, and we're always joking about that. Because he is like one of the best, you know. I'm trying to think who else is underrated. I think Leo Miyagi pretty underrated, like in Dublin as well. Like he's done some gigs in Dublin, but a lot of people wouldn't be aware of who he is, and he's like so competent and like such a good lyricist, you know. Trying to think who else.
It's a hard one because you're always thinking
Bro,
like who you're gonna leave.
Local
out when
boy
people-
from
Yeah,
Burner,
yeah.
man. See him at that gig.
Yeah.
He is so fucking good, and like nobody talks about him. You know, he should.
Yeah,
be like,
right
way-
enough actually.
I think because he probably doesn't release enough material.
I don't think he's
yeah.
very much out there on social media either.
No, yeah, and that's okay too, because like it's very hard to put yourself
Yeah.
out there all the time. And trying to think who else is underrated. I suppose a lot of the Limerick guys are like Strange Boy. He's definitely underrated.
I think he's like top 3, like MCs anyway in
he's
Ireland.
heavy up there anyway. Yeah,
Have you heard that
he's-
song String Theory
Yeah,
that he does?
man. And his verse on, I think it was the fourth Somewhere in Ireland song.
Yeah.
The one with the animated video,
Mhm.
man. His verse on that is next level. Like, I couldn't believe it when I heard it.
I think
man.
he's really young as well. He's really
he?
young as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
Yeah.
I met Matt Knockenstock, real sound guy. Shared a bit of Hennessy together. It was good crack.
That's some classic hip hop stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And then actually, literally, as I was talking to him, I just had this bottle of Hennessy that I'd got at Longitude actually.
Oh,
They
no
had it
way.
in my dressing room, so I only drank half of that and brought it to Knockstock, not too hip hop. Like the fucking security guard came over and like took it off me, and he was like, "Oh, here's a glass poured into the glass."
Fuck.
And I was like, "It's not the same."
It's just, that's not baller at all.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, Jacob.
Yeah, but I mean, I think we can pretty much cut it out there. I
Yeah.
think Jacob wants to go.
Thanks for
home.
having me. Yeah, Jacob's time is up. Like,
Yeah.
It's feeding time. I
yeah,
think.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Daddy duties.
But yeah, it's been good to finally get you up because we've
Yeah.
like hung out a lot of times when we've been at gigs and stuff. And
Exactly. Yeah,
it's
I've
just
been wanting
good
to do
get
it for ages. You know what I mean? So it's good to be here. And keep it up. You're doing savage. Like,
Cheers.
It's
Like,
important.
same with you.
Like to have all these things, man. It's like you are a really important part of it. You know. So
Oh, yeah, thanks.
start putting on gigs up here or something. That'd be the next step.
Yeah.
It's hard. I know.
We actually have one in Dublin potentially coming up
No
pretty
way.
soon. Yeah,
Deadly. That's a
yeah.
great
Be
show.
more about that
Yeah.
coming out soon, but
Yeah, because that's what builds the culture. Do you know what I mean? It's podcast, gigs, all that shit. man.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But yeah, and look out for stuff in Belfast as well. Maybe
Yeah.
end of this year.
hopefully.
Deadly.
But yeah, check out Nealo's new single, link in the bio.
Thanks, yeah.
video in
And
the
September
bio.
27th, Grand Social. Get your tickets. Ticketmaster. That's about it. Oh yeah, Belfast, 7th of November.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and they're only £3.
£3.
Nah, you literally a pint probably costs you more.
Yeah, it would like yeah.
But yeah, cheers for
Deadly.
coming on, and
Thanks, man.
we'll see you next time.
Deadly,
Right,
thanks, lads.
peace.
Appreciate it.